On November 21st, 1964, a letter and a tape arrived at Martin Luther King Jr.'s home. It claimed to come from within the civil rights movement, but was written by the FBI as part of a broader, secret, and illegal counterintelligence operation. The message was simple. We know who and what you really are. End what you're doing, or we will end it for you. In this almost certainly not companion series, we examine each episode's origins, production process, behind the scenes, personal thoughts, and most likely go off on some tangents in spite of our best efforts. In this episode, we examine King, the FBI versus MLK. I'm Layla Lawrence.
And I'm Dan Lauer.
And this is Possibly Not.
Nailed it. You did such a good job on that. Hey,
Shut up.
Scarlett. Hey, Scarlett. That was great. That was
Thank
really
you.
good.
I really need the applause to sell it, but no.
Well, I'm not going to fucking applaud. I complimented you. Calm down.
All right, first things first, let's get this out of the way. This one is a little rough for both you and me. We've put this episode out and it's got less than 100 views. This was something that you rushed to get out because you wanted it to be out before Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it's just kind of dead on arrival. The algorithm just decided it was like dead on arrival. Can you kind of explain why that is and the frustration behind it?
Why the algorithm fucked us in the ass?
Yeah. I mean, because YouTube sent you a thing saying that the reason why it wasn't pushing it out, correct?
Well, that's an inference because, like I said, I've said previously that we do about we attempt to do about $100. I mean, which is nothing in YouTube promotion and Google ads, just to get it in front of people to give it a little boost. That was their rejection. They wouldn't take our money.
Oh, okay, understood. So they wouldn't boost it.
They would not accept advertisements for it for negative imagery. So we should have figured out a way to tell that story without any negative imagery or inference. I mean,
there's no nuance to this, is there? It's just basically like a bot or something that goes through and looks at this, or is it actually people that are going through and looking at this?
There's no way. No, they just have AI scan the images and the waveform to identify a bad language, dangerous language. But so I'm inferring based on the fact that they refused to. I mean, that's the lowest numbered episode we've ever released. It died immediately.
It's horrible because when you sent me the finished cut, I was over the moon with it. I was like, this is so good. It's kind of a departure from the normal style in a few different ways, and I was really over the moon with this episode. I was so disappointed to see how it was received or how the algorithm just kind of like buried it.
I mean, it was more than disappointing. It was a little shattering to me to the point where I don't know what we're going to do next. And I am just looking at if I try to write something, I'm looking at a blank page.
Yeah. Do you think it was so shattering to you because you were on a timeline for this one? I mean, how long did it take, like start to finish, to get this one done?
Well, I had the idea to narrow in very specifically on this one part. We did the little, the last 72 hours of his life, and then focused almost entirely on the letter and the context of how it was discovered and COINTELPRO, but mostly it was the analysis of the letter because I had watched a series about the life of Martin Luther King, the documentary series, including his assassination. And they did about a minute and a half on the letter, and that captured my imagination.
Wow.
So
yeah, I'd never heard about the letter at all. Not that I've, studied extensively his life, but I had never heard of the letter.
But I wrote it quickly. I mean, within a couple days, I sent it to you. We recorded it quickly, and then I burned on it. It's actually not. It's our worst performing episode and our longest. And there's a whole concluding section that it's also the most I've ever cut from a script. Probably about 10 minutes of what we recorded, because when I was in the editing, I was like, this is all unnecessary, and I just wanted to end on that footage of him giving his last speech instead, with very little commentary. It was shattering and a little heartbreaking to me in a couple of ways, one of which was that I thought it was very organic. I enjoyed editing it. I enjoyed the feeling of it. I thought it was unique. It told a version of the story that was not it told his story through a very specific lens, but it was also shattering to me because the reason I said this to you up front, I rushed to get it out. Look, I don't have any problems with the episode. I don't know that I would actually change anything, but I rushed to get it out to release it on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is a gimmick and cynical. And
not something you normally do.
No, and I actually said to you, made me feel gross to do it, and it didn't matter at all. I could have spent more time on it, and that feels pretty bad to me. That's not how I tend to do
you
things.
think you needed to spend more time on it, though? Because I'm really proud of this episode. I think it's great.
No, I don't know that I needed to spend more time on it. I don't know that I would change anything. I don't know. I don't want to watch it, and I might never.
Yeah.
But
because it bears mentioning that we did have 2 previous episodes that did not perform as well as we wanted them to, and we went back and recut those episodes.
And they did a lot better.
And they did a lot better. This is one that
20
I don't
better.
feel like we can improve upon, though. Like, I'm really proud of it. And so for me, I mean, I'm devastated that it didn't do better, but I'm also like, no, I'm really proud of this episode. I think it's really good.
I think it was the gimmick, the timing it on MLK Day, and if we had done 1 million views on it, I think I still would have felt a little gross about it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it from the jump, but I thought I don't do any social media. Like I said, the sum total of how we get it out there as opposed to people just finding it is $100 per episode, which we couldn't even do. YouTube was like, your money's no good here. But I can't do marketing. My job is I write, direct, edit, mix. My job is to produce them and get them out there. I can't do marketing in front of that or on top of that. So this was the only time that I was like, I did it for marketing reasons or like to have a best chance, because I figured a lot of people would be looking for MLK stuff on that day. People were off work. And it was cynical and it was a gimmick. Marketing people would say that that's smart marketing, but if marketing people knew how to do anything, they'd be doing something else. So I don't feel good. I am very mixed. I'm proud of the episode, and it's still I'm still proud of it, but we do this for people to see them, and they didn't. And I do think that that it's a reasonable inference based on the rejection of even a very minor advertisement that they throttled it. And it's the proof is in the numbers. So it's I was kind of not okay in the first 2 days after it released. Only because I wanted to have a chance. If people saw it and really disliked it, okay. But nobody even had the chance to make that decision. And I mean, you roll the dice on that. It's just, I mean, 75,000 subscribers. That means that they weren't even showing it to our subscribers.
Which is crazy to me. I mean, I do feel like I understand, I suppose, wanting to censor more violent imagery, but there wasn't really violent imagery in this. I mean, you had the clip of like his body, but you don't even see his body.
Well, there's a
It's
picture. There's a very
it's a
famous
picture,
still.
but
He's on
you're
the
not like
ground, and the
looking at like a overview of like a dead body. You know what I mean? Like it's not super obvious as like a violent imagery sort of thing.
no, it's a very famous picture. The people that were standing around him when he was shot. There's a picture
Mm-hmm.
taken of them pointing. They're all pointing at the place where they think the gunshot came from. Um, and I don't know. I'm not
There's
trying to.
just there's no nuance to it. It just seems like, I mean, like you said, it's just AI going through and being like they're, not making an educated decision. And it's difficult because like how do you speak on these events in history without including that kind of imagery? I mean, it seems like you're
You
at that
can't.
point, you're like sugarcoating the truth in a way, like you're watering down what happened. So I wish there was some sort of option where it was like, yes, but we're showing this image for historical accuracy. We're not like showing some AI version of like someone getting shot in the tit, like it's just like this is for historical accuracy.
Yeah, it was all. I mean, it was either stock footage that I licensed. There was nothing generated. It was stock footage that I have licensed through a service that we use for music and footage and images, or it was images of him, like public,
Yeah. Yeah.
or fair use or public domain. So there was nothing generative about that at all. Even though all we do is AI slop.
You'll never let it go.
No, it irritates the fuck out of me. But I mean, listen. Well, it's just interesting to me. It was like I could see it like the inverse, like that they wouldn't monetize it and try to
Yeah.
put ads on it, but to not even let us buy $100 ad, which again
Mm-hmm.
is nothing. Even big
Or to,
channels put thousands and thousands of dollars in advertising
yeah.
behind newly released videos, and they wouldn't even take our money to get it in front of maybe a couple thousand people.
Or even just like to bury it in the algorithm as well. Like, I think that, I mean, like you said, it's very obvious. We have 75,000 subscribers. It's very obvious that they did not all 75,000 of those subscribers saw this come across their page.
Um, I mean, listen, YouTube is and Google they're a company. They're in the business of making money. They're not interested in content. I mean, look at what's mostly on YouTube and what's very successful on YouTube. They're not interested in good things. They want to make money.
Yeah.
So that's their right and their purview. I think that it would be good, like something like Patreon would be good but we have to build a audience there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call the shots on what we.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they probably don't accept like pornography and stuff, but they'd be fine with something like this and people can
Yeah.
pay for it. But um I think that there's a certain segment of the population who would pay to see this unedited and without commercials and stuff like that, but we got to attract them first.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know. I'm not a marketing person, so that was my best shot at like, hey, I mean, if we want to tell this story, this would be the day to do it, and it made no difference in that. So not only I think that I violated my ethics a little bit, and so that made it sting
Yeah.
particularly. Um and it was just, and I wanted to go. I mean, you said that like you're not wrong. I could have appealed it and made my case that like about what it is, and that would go before a person, but I didn't even want to think about it for those first couple of days. It
Yeah.
was like border on heartbreaking just because I agree. I think it's a good episode, but
Well, and when you're an artist as well, like every single thing that you put out is painstakingly worked on. It's hours of your life. It is, you put a little piece of yourself into these things, and then for them to not even have the chance to be received in whatever way they would be received is pretty fucking shit. Like, there's not really any other way to say it.
Yeah. I read something interesting. I think maybe the time, unless you already established the time to attract an audience for stuff like this, might be rapidly passing. I read an article the other day about how film schools, I think it was from like UCLA or something like that. They have whatever the 18-year-old, the 18-year-olds, whatever generation they're in. It was an article by a film school professor talking about how difficult it is to have his students sit through an entire 2-hour movie to study it. I think that people are more interested in 60 seconds or 90 seconds
Yeah,
than
the
45
attention
minutes.
span has been significantly lowered since social media and things like that. I mean, people, as we said before, watch a whole movie on TikTok and just like clips.
And I mean, if that's the way the wind is blowing, that's fine for what people are doing, but that's not what we do. And I don't know. I'm not
The,
like I even like we typically do the possibly not a week after the episode, or maybe even in conjunction with the episode, to do like a screening, but because we were pressed and then we had a recording session scheduled, we have one scheduled every week, and we had one scheduled last week, and I dropped you a line and I said, I don't want to fucking talk about this yet.
yeah. I mean, talking about the attention span, and this is an absolute tangent, but this is something that I've been thinking of that you probably won't even be familiar with, but the Wicked movie that came out, there was a little bit of uproar that the second film, For Good, has not received any awards nominations. And my working theory for that is that it was never meant to be two separate stories. So they split, basically, they adapted the musical into a movie and they split it into two films because, I mean, it would be like, if you put them together, it would be like a nearly 6-hour-long film. But I personally think that the second film is not a standalone film, and neither is the first, really. And
Well,
so
what did they
because it
do? Did
was
they just end it in the middle of Act 2?
they ended it where intermission happens, basically. They took
So
the
there's no
musical,
climax.
and yes, there is, but it just kind of leaves you with blue balls. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no resolution. So
Yeah.
they took the musical, they adapted it, they added a lot to it, and not to its detriment. Like, some of the stuff they added is really, really good, but they made it this like marathon event, and then they split it into two and they released them a year apart. And I just think it doesn't work because it was never meant to be two parts. I think, like,
Well,
obviously, very
if it,
famously, Gone with the Wind has an intermission
yeah.
because it's so bloody long. And I feel like this should have been like that as well. And I'm sure the reason they did it this way was for money and for, obviously the attention span of people who are watching it and that. But I mean, my personal opinion and my working theory as to why the second one was not nominated for any awards, because it is beautiful. It is an incredibly done film. It doesn't make sense as a standalone film, I think.
Yeah. Well, I guess I think yeah, awards for art is unconscionable, so I don't care about that. But I also think I mean I on the attention span thing. I mean, I've never seen Wicked, and I'm not a fan of musicals, so I'm sure that it's not for me, whether it's good or bad, or either wouldn't be in it for me. I will say though that even with an intermission, I don't want to sit in a movie theater for 6 hours. So maybe
Yeah.
that's approaching the limits of my not even attention span. That would just be exhausting. Six
Have you?
hours
I
of
mean, how long is Gone with the Wind? Gone with the Wind is like 4 something, I think.
It's almost 4. I mean, I could
Yeah.
sit like Flowers of the um why can't I think of it?
Is there another one that has an intermission like that?
No, not an intermission. I'm blanking right now. Flowers of the something moon. The last Martin Scorsese film was for like 4 hours and 15 minutes, and I watched that, and I love Scorsese, and it was an amazing movie that I can't remember. The Flowers of the blank.
I know what you're
I can't.
talking about. I can't think of it either.
It was great, but even that, I mean, that 4 hours and 15 minutes, I think it was, or somewhere in there. That was even pushing the limits of like being able to retain the story. And remember where you started. So
Killers
I
of
loved
the
it.
Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, it was
I
3 hours and 26 minutes.
I thought it was longer than that. But like 3.5 hours that's a substantial.
Well, when you're in the movie theater, I mean, it's longer than that, isn't it? Because you've got the trailers and so it is longer.
Yeah, I just watched it at home, but it was a great movie. But I mean, 6 hours. I don't want to.
Do you? I mean, this is completely on a tangent now, but do you think? Just speaking to your filmmaker brain, I feel like movies have got so insufferably long at this point as well. Like and it's movies of I don't want to say of no substance, but sometimes these movies of no substance or something that's not like an epic film, it's become kind of the norm to have like an over 3 hour long movie or a nearly 3 hour long movie. And I'm like, it's just too fucking long. It's so long.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you sustain. I actually think the most interesting movies that I have seen, I would say over the last couple of years, are the horror movies that like A24 puts out. I think are
A24 is fucking brilliant. I love them so much.
like I think some of the best movies that I've seen recently have been in the horror genre, because there's been a resurgence of like independent, interesting voices. That they kind of horror movies tend to do pretty well. They're cheap and they tend to do pretty well at the box office. So as soon as someone gets one in the door, they'll kind of, maybe on the next one, they'll give them the keys to the kingdom and be like, just do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some really, really interesting ones that are like, they are horror movies, but they're so layered and things like that. And those can come in and they can tell their story at a tight hour and 45.
Well, and that's kind of where I wonder if the pendulum is going to swing back. I mean, you're saying that a film professor has trouble having his students sit through a 3 hour long film or whatever. So I guess my point is, I'm wondering if the
I
pendulum
just
will
said
swing.
two,
Or sorry,
like a standard.
2 hour
Yeah.
long. Like if the pendulum will swing back and we'll see more like hour and 30, hour and 40-minute movies. I mean, I guess that doesn't make that much difference from a 2 hour movie, but I don't know. It just
Yeah, I don't.
seems like it's progressively just become more and more about like, I don't know. It just seems like some sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. It just seems like it's almost sort of like these directors just like it's an act of like masturbation to make these movies. It's like they won't kill their darlings. There's not like enough cuts. There's just so many things where it's just like, oh my God,
Well,
this could
I
be so
know.
much shorter.
I mean, I know why. It's like, well, Scorsese, for instance, did the reason that you typically don't want to have a movie that is that long in a theater is because that's fewer showings per day, and so less
Mm-hmm.
money. But if you're doing like Scorsese did Killers of the Flower Moon, he released it in a couple theaters so it could be considered for Academy Awards, but it was released on Apple TV day and date.
Yeah,
And when you're doing it for a streaming service, they don't give a shit.
that's true. Yeah.
So I think that the prevalence of that, the box office, the desperation to have it at 90 minutes so you can have as many showings per day to sell as many tickets per day as possible, is the paradigm has shifted, and that's freed up. So you could say that it's a form of master. I mean, if the movie's great at 3 hours and 25 minutes, then that's fine if you're padding. But I mean, Martin Scorsese is not, I mean, Casino comes in at just over 3 hours, but that fucking movie moves. You
Yeah.
do not feel it. So if the pacing is good and it sustains the story, then I got no problem with it. If it's tedious and you feel like they're padding an already long runtime, Lord of the Rings, then
Oh, fuck off, man. Oh my God. They're just so much fighting. There's so much walking. There's so much fighting. And the fight scenes are so
uh,
long and you don't know
well,
what's happening. Oh
I'm
God.
specifically referring to the end of the Return of the King, which
I'm
like
talking
ends
about
5
all
times.
of them. I'm not even sure I saw that. Yeah, and there's like so many natural ending points, and you're like, oh, for the love of God, just end it. Just fucking end it. Anyway, this
But
is on a complete tangent for Martin Luther King Jr. But
I don't
maybe
know.
we
I
just need
mean,
to have
there's
like a film conversation because I really think that like, I mean, I'm not super smart about films. I have not studied this sort of thing. I am, as I've said before, I'm a talking flesh puppet, but I do feel like there is a reckoning coming like within the film industry where it's going to have to adapt or die kind of thing.
Well, like I
Um,
said, I think it actually already is, but it's just different kinds of movies. Like I
yeah.
said, like the horror, and there's some dramatic stuff that I've seen that's really interesting. And there are companies like A24 and like some streaming services that like you are gonna have to do some work to find them, but there's still really interesting voices out there.
Yeah.
If you know where to look. So it's an exaggeration to say like the things that get the most attention are things like Wicked or superhero movies, but there's still people doing
I
stuff.
feel like superhero movies have burnt out. I feel like the Marvel kind of like our generation, not you because you wouldn't, but like our generation kind of grew up with the Marvel franchise and I personally feel like people are over superhero movies at this point. Like I think they should have just ended
I,
the Marvel franchise when they ended it and be like this is a nice little capsule and this is like, this is the end of it. Like this is the thing. But now they've got like I don't know. I don't know. It's this conversation go on forever. But yeah.
Yeah, but money. But
But
money.
money. Yeah, I know, but money.
But
Anyway,
money.
um, so you are a famously pedantic person, or infamously, while also being a logophile. I looked that word up.
Well
Um,
done.
did that make this episode more difficult to write because you were more so examining the intention behind the words rather than the literal meaning of the words? Or was this like more interesting for you to delve into that intention rather than the actual like face value of the words?
I mean, I think that analyzing every single sentence and having I think that that fits very neatly into pedantic.
No, it does, but you're like because you're I guess analyzing kind of the intention was not necessarily it just seems like sometimes what was being said was not what was meant. So was that more interesting to you?
Oh, very, because I was curious about like what is the intention and also like how much of this is somebody fucking this up and how much of this is an incredibly gifted intelligence officer,
Yeah.
or an FBI officer deliberately misspelling things, making the language sound
I
clunky,
did
trying to impersonate someone.
see this was something that I
Um,
kind of touched on later on because I one of my questions was do you believe the letter is elegant in its fabrication? And that was something that I couldn't figure out either, whether it was like on purpose it was done this way or if it's just like an idiot.
well, we managed to. Well, I mean, I think it was. I mean, ultimately, we can ascribe it to an assistant director in the FBI. So,
Mhm.
idiot. I mean, probably not. Especially at that time, there was very rigorous standards for even being admitted to the FBI. I think there still is, but um, so probably not an idiot, but well, people fail upwards all the time. I don't know. I think that that's an open question. I mean, I think the conclusion that or I know the conclusion that I reached in the script and that we reach in the episode is that
Mhm.
whatever the intention and however elegant it is, it failed. So it didn't work. But I was more curious about what is it doing? How is it using repetition? What ideas is it reinforcing? In what order? And where does it succeed and where does it fail and what's buried within it, what's implied, and also because they were bugging King, I'm sure reading his mail, they probably had moles inside of his organization there's stuff that probably, and we do think of the 34 days is something specifically that like we focused on or we hyper focused on because that's such an odd countdown or deadline.
Yeah.
And I wonder too how much of that is how many casual references are embedded in that letter that would have meant something to King that is lost to history because you had to be him or people that were spying on him to know that it meant something more than what it says.
Yeah.
So I don't know. As far as like being a pedant and a logophile, I think that's sort of like that's that and obsessive. I'm incredibly obsessive at when I get an idea in my head about coming at it from 1,000 different angles, and so I knew we weren't going to draw any conclusions. I mean, we know that it was. I mean, it tells you a number of things in the letter. It tells you that it's meant to be. It's presented as though it was written by from within King's own community and tries to alienate him and talks about how he has failed them. So we know who it's intended to look like it came from, what it's trying to do, which is to get him to step out of public life before that they expose him.
Or to off himself, which that's what I got from it. When I first read through the letter before I read kind of your breakdown of it, I was like, oh my God, they're trying to get him to kill himself.
Well, I think that they were. I think that they were counting on the fact that he would be so...
they wanted him to unalive himself. I don't want any like violent...
No, they wanted him to kill himself and commit suicide. The Federal Bureau of Investigation...
I'm trying to beat the algorithm.
Fuck off. The Federal Bureau of Investigation at the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, who created and ran the Federal Bureau of Investigation, sent a letter to Martin Luther King Jr. to kill himself, to commit suicide. In an illegal, as part of a larger illegal operation on American citizens inside of various movements.
Do you think this kind of thing still happens? I mean, I'm sure it does.
Probably. I mean, almost certainly. I don't know why they would. I mean, it was already against the law when they did it, and then they had the church committee that told them again, by the way, that this is all really against the law, and they were like, "Oh, our bad."
What do you? So when you say against the law, just really quick,
a violation of the Constitution.
Is it? I didn't know. What do you know? What part or where it's written?
Yeah, the Fourth Amendment. I mean, several amendments, but specifically the Fourth Amendment, which is unreasonable search and seizure, unless you're suspected of a crime and like warrantless. It's warrantless wiretapping.
Okay,
you have to have a judge sign off on a warrant to wiretap somebody. You can't just do it unilaterally.
Sending the letter is not necessarily against the law. I mean, it's horrible, but not necessarily against the law. But the bugging was against the law. Or is still against the law.
Well, the letter was sent with a tape that was obtained surreptitiously.
Okay,
so they're both the creation of the tape was illegal, warrantless wiretapping. So the sending of the letter could be considered harassment, terrorism, blackmail.
Certainly blackmail, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
so it's illegal all day long.
It's so difficult because, like, I feel like there are these laws that we learn about in school that are, in theory, supposed to protect, but then I feel as though every day you hear about these laws being broken with absolutely zero repercussions. And this is just one of those things as well, where it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's you say like, well, it's in the Constitution, but it's still done, and I'm sure it's been done for ages, and it will continue being done. Like I'm sure this sort of bugging of people's homes and offices and this sort of surveillance still happens, and it's more high tech now as well.
Well, let me be clear. There are people that if someone is suspected of a crime. There's nothing illegal about wiretapping in and of itself. You just need to have a warrant. You need to go to a judge, you present your evidence, and you need them to sign off on a warrant to allow them to bug your phone or whatever to collect evidence. I mean, that's how they took down. I mean, the mafia has been basically neutered over the last 25 years, but they went to a judge and including the FBI and got warrants to place bugs. So you're allowed to do that, but that's not a violation of the Fourth Amendment because you have a warrant from a duly appointed judge to allow you to collect that evidence surreptitiously. So it's just the warrantless part that violates the Constitution. So you got a warrant on somebody who you suspect of a crime, and a judge and the district attorney or whomever is involved in the case goes before a judge, presents the evidence, and the judge signs off on a warrant. That's completely legal. You just have to be suspected of a crime first, and you have to have a warrant.
Do you think this kind of goes back to J. Edgar Hoover? Do you think it was maybe like, do you think the FBI sort of acted on their own? This is all conjecture, of course, but like, do you think the FBI acted on their own, or do you think it was J. Edgar Hoover being like, this guy is out of control, we have to stop him, figure it out?
I mean, J. Edgar Hoover was the FBI.
Yeah.
He was the director of the FBI, so I guess that I don't really understand the question.
Wait, hold on. He was the director of the FBI. He was the president, though, right?
Oh, I'll cut this for you, Scarlett. No, he was the director of the FBI.
When was Hoover president?
Until like the 70s.
I'm thinking of a different Hoover.
You're thinking of Herbert Hoover.
Oh my God. You can keep it in there. It's all right. You can keep it in. It's fine.
All right.
I'm not from here.
I was like, what the fuck? You lived here for so long.
I just heard yeah, and the American schooling system is so good, right? I was just thinking like,
well, how
Hoover,
do I know?
And I was like, hang on a minute.
How do I know that? I went to public school.
I went through this whole thing thinking J. Edgar Hoover was the fucking president. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, never mind.
And incidentally, you do know when he was assassinated, like during King's lifetime was like Truman, Kennedy.
Yeah, I don't keep track of when the presidents were president. I don't fucking know. I just know their names. Like, oh yeah, that sounds like a president. Like the Hoover Dam, right?
Well, I was so confused. You said, do you think that the FBI did this like on their own? And I was like, yeah, I already said it was J. Edgar Hoover. He ran the FBI. He was the director of the FBI.
Oh, that is really
he created the FBI.
That is really a testament to the American public school system, because that's the only way I would have.
Well, you don't get to say that because that's what I went to the American public school.
Yeah, but you're
and I don't
like
even have
an exception
a university
to the rule.
degree.
You're an exception to the rule, you know? Like, I don't know. Whatever. We'll move past that.
I read books sometimes, I guess.
You read books sometimes. I watch Wicked. You read books, you know? We're not the same. Yeah, so...
No, but anyway, I think, going back to your point, I think that maybe, given all that J. Edgar Hoover might have had something to do with it.
Maybe, yeah. It's so weird. Yeah. So extramarital affairs are not illegal, but...
That was a beautiful segue.
But they do... obviously tarnish reputations. I was completely unaware. I mean, obviously, we've just made mention of the fact that I don't read books, but I was not aware that Dr. King had extramarital affairs. And do you think that it is not more highly publicized because, or it's just not part of the conversation surrounding him because it would taint his sort of legend, taint his legend and, you know, all of the obviously incredible work that he did?
Well, I'm operating from something of a disadvantage here because I have known that since the 90s. So I guess going back to the J. Edgar Hoover thing, I have no choice, Scarlett, but to live inside my own brain.
Yeah.
So I sometimes make assumptions that my common knowledge is equivalent to common knowledge.
Oh,
and I think I'm wrong.
I know we have a common series where I will tell you that that's wrong. Yeah, I mean, well, and again, I don't know if I'm a special case here, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that I don't think a lot of people know about that.
No, he did. I mean, that wasn't that extraordinary for the time. I mean, it still isn't. But it is common knowledge, and I think something that because I mean, the thing that we caught ultimately was a meditation on that, which was basically like, you can't take the worst thing that someone has ever done and weigh that against the good that they've done, or to undermine the good that they've done. Because if you do that, you have to, there's a paradox there Where if you're going to do that and say, here's this person who dedicated the majority of their life to improving the lives of millions of people, but he cheated on his wife, which is a wrong thing, which I agree with. That's a bad thing to do. You shouldn't do that. That really hurts people. But I don't think that you can have a moral and ethical judgment about that, but that doesn't undo the remainder of what he did with his life. In the same way that you can't say somebody who's truly evil was very kind to children and dogs.
Yeah.
That doesn't undo all of the evil they did. So that was how the script ended.
And he
basically.
is kind of idolized. He is very much, I think, put on a pedestal. And
well, I don't see any reason that he can't. Well, you shouldn't turn people into heroes because they're going to let you down because they're people.
I think it humanizes him. I mean, again, I don't think any less of him for this. It's just surprising to me. But
well, here's the thing: is that he was a hypocrite, and most of us are.
100%.
So, he was in a position where he was elevated to this position where he spoke for a people, and I mean he was a grandstander and he was a press hound, and maybe he got off on the attention, but like again, like, so take all of that and weigh it against like the work that he did to reverse Jim Crow laws and segregation.
It doesn't, and like, it's not equal.
So what if he got off on it? And people, I mean, there's the saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and you get to a point where like people are. I could see how it happens. I mean, it's to say he was a movie star or a rock star. There's a reason that so many of them have affairs because they can. Everybody wants to fuck them, and I've never been in that position, but I would like to think that I'm better than that. But I've never been presented with it. And I think that, I mean, that's not really that uncommon for very famous people to fall into that trap. But I mean, so that was the thing that I was like, at the end of editing, I cut the audio for it. And then I was like, I just want to fade to white and then come back in on the Been to the Mountaintop speech.
It's much more powerful that way. I was a little bummed that you cut that because I did quite like that section at the end. But I think it was cleaner and more impactful the way that you ended up producing it.
And we mentioned, I mean, I didn't feel the need to comment on it because we say, I mean, it's pretty well known that he had extramarital affairs. I mean, so did John Kennedy. So did probably most very powerful people that you can think of, people who are idolized or hero worshipped. Maybe not most, but a lot. And you could feel, I didn't feel the need to tell the audience how they should feel about that. But I do think that, so we established that they could take away from all 52 of those people who watched it, can take away from that what they feel like they would like to. I think that there's a precious few people who would argue that you can cheat on your spouse with impunity and it's no big deal, or at least have the balls to say that in public. That really hurts somebody. But is it unforgivable? Does it say something intrinsic about your character? It kind of can't, because otherwise good people do it all the time. A very, very high percentage. I mean, so, but it, aside from that, it is dangerous to elevate a person beyond personhood, because whatever they are, they're still people, and people are flawed.
Well, and he became a symbol for a movement, for several movements.
And then a martyr.
Yeah.
And so I could see because he was killed or assassinated, murdered, murder.
He's trying to kill us in the water.
Fuck the algorithm. He was also martyred, and so I can see the I could see the impulse to not allow something like that to tarnish, but to tarnish his reputation. But if you're in the public eye and that comes out, I don't think that the public necessarily has a right to that part of your personal life. And I think a lot of people feel that way about public figures. Like, well, you decided that you wanted to be a movie star, so every single thing about you is in the public domain. And I don't agree with that, but there's a trait. I mean, to be famous and rich and privileged, there's a certain amount of trade-off where if you portray yourself one way and you're exposed as being another way, and you've benefited from the version of yourself that you built, then that becomes public domain a little bit, and people get to comment on it, especially if it exposes you as a hypocrite. But I don't think that, especially for somebody who has like dedicated their life to improving, again, the lives of millions of people, I don't think that that undermines it. I just think that that's part of the story, so you shouldn't sweep it under the rug either. But ultimately, I think that particular part of the story, frankly, it would be like for any relationship, it's between him and his wife, and I'm sure she wasn't happy. So, that's like anybody who commits infidelity or any inside of any relationship where anybody has any problems, it's kind of between the two of them, you know?
Yeah.
So
Moving back to kind of the production a little bit, you don't normally like to use your voice on these episodes. You have only done it once previously where you read a poem. But you chose to, well, you didn't choose. We kind of decided it would be better for you to read the letter. Can you kind of explain why that was?
just because we know it was written by a white man, and I thought there's a mundanity to my voice, or there can be. And I also, so I thought it should be in a male voice. And I also thought I deliberately, I don't know, people can have their opinions. They can think that I'm doing a bad accent, but I will say that I deliberately, I took it line by line. So there's not invisible, but inaudible cuts between each sentence where I am alternating deliberately because of the obfuscation of the author between kind of a Jersey accent, which is my native accent, and kind of a vague Boston accent.
Weird that that's your native accent, by the way. Oh my God.
Well, it's not my I have a non-regional accent because I've lived all over the country. I don't think you can hear it when I get angry or I get excited. A little bit of Jersey comes out. You can't hear it now, but I can turn it on. But I'm not doing a bad Jersey accent. I'm not doing a bad Boston accent. I'm deliberately trying to make it sound like it's in different voices.
Yeah.
And also taking all the life out of it's very, very statically read. And I just thought that would sound more, I don't know. I just thought it was something that like wouldn't quite hit in the like wouldn't stick the landing maybe in the right way. And it, because it's not narration, it's just recitation. I thought that that would lie outside of what it is that I want to happen in these episodes, where the story is never told with any voice but yours. And that's not the story. That's just reading.
No, I mean, I think
letter.
it was definitely the right idea. And your
but I just want to make that clear for anybody who thinks
astonishing.
Anybody who thinks I'm doing a shitty accent, I'm actually not. It's deliberate. I can do a great Jersey accent. I can do a great Boston accent.
Go on. What's your Jersey accent?
Put me
just
on
say something. Say something like Jersey.
Forget about it.
That's not. Is that Jersey?
No, it's New York and New Jersey. It depends on what the fuck are you talking about.
When you were little, did you have a New Jersey accent?
Oh yeah, I was 6 when we were from New Jersey.
Shut the fuck up! Oh my God!
What's over there in the car? Look at that. The car's not too far from the yard.
Oh my God. It's amazing. I just can't imagine you with anything, like any really region-specific accent.
Oh, look at you. You're so special.
Oh my God.
Oh, poor you. But yeah, it's
Oh
deliberate.
my God, I love it.
I would do a line in like vague Jersey, cut or pause, and then do a line in vague Boston, and then do a line in my normal accent, and just because it, like, yeah, just to, anyway, it's deliberate.
Yeah.
If you think I'm doing a shitty accent, it's supposed to be muddled. That was the idea, because the letter is
So
muddled.
fuck you.
But
All 52 of you.
Yeah, but I just thought it was, I don't know, and I think that you agreed that it would just make more sense for me to read it.
Yeah, no, I definitely 100% agree. So your love of language is super obvious in this episode. You kind of tear apart this letter in a way that I don't think a lot of people can. Do you think that we are kind of losing that love of language and understanding the intention and the meaning behind the words in the world? Because everything is like shorthand and it's social media and yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's the end of that. Yes.
Even before you finish the question, yes. Of course.
You don't have anything else to say on that?
I mean, I guess it depends on who we is. I mean, people who love to read and write, but it's shrinking all the time. So some people don't know the difference between Herbert Hoover and J. Edgar
I don't think
Hoover,
that's a
so
language situation. I feel like that's a American history situation. So
I know, but I just wanted to fuck on you a little bit. Anyway, yes, I think almost without question. But there's more of a love. I mean, the way to, I don't know, is to have a love of reading and to get things in. The idea that you can, like, it's astonishing to me where they will embed a link. Like, newspapers will say, like, first reported on Twitter. And I'm like, that's not reported. That is not reported. That's just some person saying something. And then they'll link to it instead of embedding an image of it or something like that. And I don't have a Twitter account, so I can't even see what they're talking about.
It's not even Twitter anymore, but it's X.
Elon Musk's masturbation factory.
Yeah. Speaking of masturbation,
so I think that I mean, the landscape has changed, and listen, I mean, even before social media, Scarlett, I was a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I don't belong in these decades. I was born at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I'm an alien here.
You are.
So who gives a fuck what I think? But that's what I think.
How do you feel when they add words to the dictionary? You know how like Oxford has their like additional word to the dictionary from common vernacular? You think that's fine? I hate that. I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I don't know.
They've been doing that since Samuel Johnson created his first lexicon. That's how you don't have to say them. Do you have any idea how busy I am? Do you think I have time in my day to care?
I know.
What the OED adds every year?
It's just sometimes it's something so ridiculous. And I'm like, what? Can we just let this die? Can we just not have to be reminded of this, please?
Well, no, I disagree. If it is pervasive enough to be defined, to have a definition, then I don't know. I probably won't say it. I mean, I guess it depends on what it is. I have certain objections where they change the definition of figurative to mean literal, or literal to mean figurative, and literal. I think that those words, but the people are not that. I don't know. I don't know that I'm fine with it as much as I don't have time to care what the OED is doing from year to year. That's fine. But maybe some of them are valid and interesting.
Okay.
Some of them are
just
not.
Really quick before we get off here, I just have to. It's just rage bait. I have to. I'm sorry. Recent winners: brain rot, Riz? Goblin mode? What? What? Like, what is that?
I don't know. I don't care what the definitions are. Don't bother telling me though. I don't know. Language is sense, you know, it's not new. I mean, English is Germanic based, and then Anglo-Saxon got in there, and we got some French loaner words, and then it was early Middle English, and then early Modern English, and then Modern English. And now it's sort of like postmodern English. But I mean, you can't really like criticize like. I mean, I think that words and phrases Shakespeare invented about 500. That got added to the lexicon and the dictionary, and now are in common parlance. Things like salad days. So no, that's an it's been ever changing. Even like pronunciation evolves over time.
Like aluminium.
But what? Yeah, exactly. But you can go like, it's interesting how far, based on pronunciation and dialectically speaking, how far back a native English speaker could go. Like if you hopped in a time machine, what year could you go to? And more or less, like go to England and more or less understand what everybody is saying.
How far back
and
do you
then there's
think
a
you could
point.
go?
Well, it's about like the way that words were pronounced and the dialect of the
Yeah.
words when they were still like closer to Anglo-Saxon than they are to English or early modern English. I mean, they're pretty interesting. Like linguists I've seen some YouTube videos where they read the same, like they'll translate a passage in Anglo-Saxon and then like pre-English. I don't know what all the periods are, but like early Middle English, early modern English, which I think is like Shakespeare's time, modern English, postmodern English. They'll take the same passage and then read it in all of those, and like it'll get progressively, like I think early modern English or late Middle English, you could like, if you squint and tilt your head, you could get about 50% of it. But it's evolving all the time. Words are being added all the time. I don't know. Language doesn't belong to us.
You've
really.
said that before, yeah.
It belongs to the generation behind us. Yeah, I mean, it's an ever evolving thing. Plus, I don't have time to give a fuck.
Would you have
'cause I work
ever
2 jobs
been
and do
a
this.
linguist? I feel like that would have been such a good job for you. Was that ever something that you considered? No?
The only thing I was in the when I entered high school, I entered the International Baccalaureate program.
Oh, fuck, so did I.
Which is
that says something for that program because
Yeah.
we both got in the same one. That's unfortunate.
But it's like an Ivy League preparatory. If you can't go to prep school, that's like public prep school. To prepare.
I don't
you
think I
for
ever
a
knew
very
that about
high-level
you. Have we ever
university
talked about
experience.
this before? Did you do the full 4 years?
I don't know. No, I only did
I
a
did
year.
too.
Because the depression hit, and then I decided I did not want to go to a university. But when I entered before the depression hit, really badly, when I entered my freshman year of high school, I was in the International Baccalaureate program, and I wanted to go to an Ivy League medical school and be a psychiatrist.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe that's why your depression hit. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I had a fucking breakdown. I was in it for 2 years, and then I had like an absolute fucking meltdown because I realized that if I didn't pass the cumulative tests that were in the 4th year, it would have all been for naught, basically. And I was like, I just want to be an actor. I don't think I need this.
I decided the same thing, that I wanted to be a writer, and also, and you're not going to like this, but it was no less tedious and easy to me than regular high school was.
God.
It wasn't a challenge.
I hated it.
So I didn't really. But I decided that, some of my classmates, because there was only a handful of us. I think there were 6 of us from my county
Really?
selected.
Wow,
Yeah,
there were more for me.
And I think they went on to go to Georgetown and Princeton and some of them on full rides.
That's
so
so funny.
that was the track I was
That's so
on.
funny because a few of the people that I was in the program with were also in the theater department with me, and those people just literally went to college to be theater majors. And I was like, you're not any better off than what I was. Like, what the fuck? You could have had a much easier time in high school and less stressful time in high school and done exactly the same thing. Anyway, we are way off on a tangent now. But that's kind of the end of this for me. That was the end of my talking points. I really wanted to get into how fucking disappointing it was that this video didn't do well. But yeah.
I'll just say maybe I'll cut it, but like I don't know what we're going to record next, and I don't know when I'm going to want to start editing it.
I think
I don't think it matters that we do one a month.
Yeah.
So I want to I mean, I'll tell you that here's what maybe I'll close on, which is a more positive note, is it was such I mean, like from a creative perspective, I was like in it. It was great. It was like a flow state and almost like stream of consciousness where it just like everything just worked. And I think that sometimes putting a deadline and constraints on yourself really helps with creativity, the creative process. It just worked.
It's a
everything I tried worked,
episode.
and it was like I felt really good about it. I think that's what made it sting. But like sometimes, you know who I'm really inspired by sometimes is the guys who do. Yes, of course, my dear. But the guys who do South Park, because they go in on a they go into the writer's room, they write, direct, animate, record the voices, and direct an episode. Every episode of South Park they do in 6 days.
I love that.
And they there's a whole documentary about it called 6 Days to Air, where they go in and they film them from the day one. They arrive in the morning at the writer's room. They have like no ideas. And then it takes them all the way through to the release, which is the following Wednesday, or at least it used to be. I don't know. I know this is when they were still just on Comedy Central. I think they're streaming now. But I think that sometimes those and they were just like, anytime we take a summer off and write a bunch of ideas, by the time we bring them into the room, they suck and they're not fresh anymore. And so I might we have some things on the docket, but like there's something about, I watched that series on Martin Luther King. I was fascinated by the letter. I started writing. I got in touch with you and said like, how soon can you record? And I think from the time I had the idea and started writing to the time we released it, I think was like 12 days. Which is
incredible.
13. And that was really hard, but I really enjoyed it, and there was something.
It also
about
like doesn't give you a time.
It
doesn't give you a chance to second guess yourself either, which I think is quite nice.
The only thing I missed, just because it was like, I don't know if it was a scheduling thing where we didn't get to like screen it together before, which like. I don't know that I mean, I gave you the opportunity to give me notes, but I do like this. I just enjoyed doing that.
You did give me the opportunity to give you notes, but when I watched it, I literally had like none. I really, really liked this episode.
You want to tell the people what happened at the end?
What do you mean, what happened at the end?
What did you do at the end of the episode?
I'm panicking now. What did I do at the end of the episode? I don't know.
You cried? You told me?
Oh, when I watched it? Yeah, I did. I did cry at the end of the episode. I was really moved by this episode. Like watching, and that's why I'm saying like I really liked the ending that you had written. But then when I saw the way that you had done, like ending on his speech, how can you not feel emotional? Like, what are you, like a fucking robot if you don't feel emotional about that? Like, especially in today's climate. Like, what an inspirational, just giant of a man. And to hear him, like, I'm not sure I've ever heard that much of his speech, to be honest with you. Or if I have, it's been a very long time since I've listened to that much of his speech. And it was like, oh God,
And that was the night before he was
it just fucking
assassinated.
gets you. Like, yes, I did cry. I did. I'm a crier. I cried.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I didn't because I'm not a pussy.
All you
But
people
I
who
agree.
haven't watched it
It
are
was very
fucking
powerful.
stupid. Go back and watch it. It's really good. It's really
Well, they're not listening
good,
to this
guys.
either.
It's really good. Anyway,
I mean, listen, I just like yeah, it died. So it's not. I guess what's hard is like it's not that people didn't like
it's
it.
that they
It's
didn't
that they
get a
didn't
chance
get a
to
chance to
make
see it.
a decision about it. Ah,
I mean, I'll be very frank, and maybe I'll cut this out. That I was like, if this is how it's gonna go when I'm passionate about something, I don't know if I want to do this
Yeah.
anymore. I was there for like 3
Yeah.
days. I was kind of ready to throw in the
but
towel.
we've spoken about
But
it before,
this is-
where you know we've said we don't care how many views things get, we just want to do it. So, which is true.
I snapped out of it. We're building a body of work. We now have 12 episodes, and this will be 24, including possibly not. There's a body of work up there, and if it hits, one of them goes viral, then there will be 12 episodes or 13 or 24 if
Yeah.
they do these that people can binge in a playlist if they like it. So, and I think it's total creative freedom, and it's, I mean, the best. I think that I'm prouder of some of like the screenplays, and I think that maybe the memoir is probably the best thing I'll ever do. Maybe not, but as far as like filmmaking, this is definitely the best stuff I've ever done or been involved with.
Yeah. Kelly's Boo House Jamboree
I don't know about
is
you.
just not on top for you, huh?
Some of those low budget horror movies. Well, you did a movie. I don't know if people know you did a movie with Naomi Watts.
I did do a movie with Naomi Watts, and what was his name? What's the other guy? What's the guy's name? Fucking, I can't remember his name now.
Oh, I forgot.
Whatever. Anyway, Matt.
It was Sunlight
Matt,
Junior, right?
I think Matt Dillon.
Is that what it's called?
Mhm,
Sunlight Junior.
Junior. Yeah. I aborted Naomi Watts' baby. I didn't personally abort
kids.
her baby, but you know.
If you want to watch Layla Lawrence counsel Naomi Watts about the trauma of an abortion, go watch Sunlight Junior.
She was like my first movie star that I ever met, and she was fine, but not as friendly as I wanted her to be. But also, like, the subject matter that we were dealing with was like obviously very heavy. The only thing I remember is she was eating these like powdered donuts, and she literally was like so fucking over these powdered donuts because I guess she had been eating them like all day the day previous. It was the first time I had ever seen a spit bucket in real life, and she was just like nauseous over eating these fucking powdered donuts.
Oh, I can see that doing take after take.
Anyway.
Well, this is for me. What do you think? What are you proudest of?
I don't know. I've never really. Oh, man. I've never really thought about it. I don't think. I've done so many things that have been like through corporate restraints, like working with Universal. I don't know what I'm most proudest of, like work-wise. Most proudest of? Layla, come on. I don't know what I'm most proud of work-wise, honestly. I'm not sure. I haven't written beautiful things like you have. I mean, I'm very proud of what we do with this, but I feel like I am only a small part of this. I don't feel like I have an ownership of this, really. So, I don't know.
Well, you're producing this right now.
Yeah, but not really. I don't know. Like we've talked about this before. I don't feel like I have an ownership of it. Like I think I always feel like this is your thing, and I'm just like a small part of it. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm most proudest of. Most proudest of? Why do I keep saying that? Jesus fucking Christ.
Jesus Christ.
What I'm most proud of. I don't know what I am most proud of.
Well, you're the actress in these, and like, I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson, who I love, just released a movie called One Battle After Another
Is it
with
good?
Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, it's
Okay, I've
incredible. It's
wanted
Paul
to
Thomas
watch it.
Anderson. Based on or adapted or inspired by a Thomas Pynchon novel. So, yeah, it's great. But Paul Thomas Anderson wrote and directed and edited and produced it. Most people would say that's a Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
That's very true. But I never got to that status. You know what I mean? Like, and that was kind of why I was okay with stepping away from acting, because I was so tired of like only auditioning for one-liners and
No, but
whatever,
I'm talking about this. You're performing in this.
Yeah,
So
I mean, people might say
what
what people say, but that doesn't affect the way that I feel about something. I mean, I don't know. Like, all it would take would be someone listening to one of these Possibly Nots and be like, there's no fucking way that girl wrote these.
But you're not a writer.
Yeah.
And can't really, I mean, you can't really speak unless I write
That's
for you.
That's very true. I don't speak unless you write. I'm tired. I haven't slept in years, Woody. Neither of you, but you know.
I was say you're going to complain to me about that?
Anyway.
I don't know where you get your fucking balls.
I'm Layla Lawrence.
And I'm Dan Lauer.
He writes this shit. And this has been Possibly Not.
Shit being the operative word, apparently.